What's up guys, now in a recent video we took a look at what life was like for your average mid-range PC gamer all the way back in 2015, and during that video I did say that we would walk through the years, so today we bring you 2016. So this is the system that we've got today, and it does look very similar, and that's because in 2016 there wasn't that much excitement going around. There were no brand new platforms, there were no new CPU architectures, people were still building with Intel's 6th generation. DDR4 was still the standard RAM, and SSDs were again still a thing. So I guess for the CPU in this system we're using the Intel Core i5-6500. That is a 4-core, 4-thread processor from, of course, 2015. And it was not only popular in gaming builds because of its price to performance, but it was also popular in a lot of pre-built systems for things like offices and that. So you can actually find these with ease nowadays, and they don't cost you a lot at all. When it was new, it probably would have cost you around £200, and that's kind of the limit we've put on our CPU today to make it a mid-range system. The CPU inside of this needs to sit in a motherboard, and we're using a very basic H61M board here. It's not necessarily a mid-range board, but it's not actually that important really, because performance is not going to be any different between this one and even a higher end one. So that is the board that we're going to be using, and it fits in this case perfectly fine. It's going to run the system as it would have done all the way back then. For RAM, your average PC gamer was actually using around 8 gigabytes back in 2016, which kind of feels really weird nowadays considering that we're all trying to push towards that 64 gigabytes, although realistically trying to get 64 gigabyte nowadays is really hard because of the pricing. Even if you're looking at something like DDR4, that's exactly what this system's using, and even though it was priced relatively high back in 2016, it wasn't anywhere near what the prices are today. But we are running it in dual channel here, and we've got 2 sticks of 4 gigabyte. At least that does give our processor access to the proper speed of RAM that it actually needs, and it is still definitely something gamers would have done back then. For storage, we're just using a very basic 1 terabyte SATA SSD. Now, SATA SSDs back in 2016 were actually coming forward. They were something that gamers were starting to use more and more of, and the hard drive was starting to become the secondary drive. So again, it's not too important in terms of the storage that we're using here, but it will at least give us the benefits of the speeds that gamers would have been using back then too. But there was one thing that did change, and that's because Nvidia released this. This is the Nvidia Geforce GTX 1060. This graphics card was a real gift to gamers because it offered previous generation's flagship performance for a fraction of the price, and with its modern technology it became extremely popular too. It actually led in the Steam hardware survey for many years afterwards, and it still holds a reasonably high position even today, which means gamers are still having a lot of fun with them. The one that we're including in this system today specifically is the Asus ROG Strix model. This is just the one that I have. It's probably not something that many budget and mid-range type of gamers would have had back then, but if you wanted something that looked extremely nice in the case, this was definitely the model to go for. Probably a little bit too over-engineered, but it's going to offer pretty much the same performance, so we're going to get a pretty decent look into it. But to find out whether actually upgrading from 2015 to 2016 and going for something like the GTX 1060 would actually make a real difference, we need to get this system hooked up and try some games. Okay, so it's 2016 and we've got our little mid-range gaming PC with that GTX 1060 installed. It was actually the smaller brother to the GTX 1080 Ti, which is many people actually consider as the greatest graphics card of all time, and I'm sure many mid-range or budget gamers would technically class this one as probably the version for them too. It's lasted so long, and we're going to be testing 2016 games here, and of course if you've got a graphics card that is technically one of the greatest, you've got to play one of the greatest games as well. Unfortunately for us, 2016 gave birth to many of them. The first one that we're going to take a look at today is Titanfall 2. Now, if you have played this game before in the past, you will know just how good it is. Now, as we saw with the 2015 version of this, which is technically the same platform underneath with the Intel Core i5-6500, 8 gigabytes of DDR3, because these were all technically the standard of what mid-range gamers were really using back then. Loading times and things like that are actually pretty quick. They did a fantastic job in 2016 of basically developing games and things. They were extremely well optimized, and I'm sure you'll see that from some of the other games that we see today. But we'll just jump into game now. I can't remember where I've actually kind of saved this game at the moment, but we are looking at some real high performance here. I'm not sure what the settings are actually configured to, but I'm sure we will get there. We'll just head over to the settings now. We'll just go to our video settings, just double check what we've got configured. So we've got no VSync on. We are running in 1080p, which was the pretty standard and average type of resolution back in 2016. In fact, it's still very well used today as well. Then we've got a mixture of different settings here, but we have got things like shadow details high. There's no real presets on this game, so you've kind of just got individual things, but everything is pretty much either set to a normal or a high setting, or even here with texture streaming budget in a very high setting here, because our graphics card does have 6 gigabytes of VRAM. That is something that's a little bit different to the previous generation, because the last graphics card we had in here was only a 4 gigabyte. 8 gigabyte did quickly take over, but the GTX 1060 seemed to do extremely well, particularly back then with this amount of VRAM. But with a high setting across the board, let's jump back into the game and check out the performance. So now we're basically at the start of the game here, but it doesn't mean that it's any less demanding than anywhere else. I actually really love this game. I'm sure all of you watching today, if you did play this back then, or even if you played it recently, you will know exactly what we're talking about. It is so much fun, and I don't even think I've got my I don't have my Titan at the moment. I'm trying to find a battery to be able to get it running, but we'll kill everything that comes across our sights. We're currently getting an average of around 131 frames per second with a 1% low of 106. This would have definitely offered a high performance gaming experience for gamers back in 2016, particularly those on a budget, because like I say, this is a very budget based graphics card. I think to get any lower than this, you were talking about something like the GTX 1050 or even the 1050 Ti. This would have been classed more around the level of a mid-range card, and that's purely down to price. It does fit within our price range, particularly on this series that we're doing here. It's around £200 to £300 you could have picked these up for, which kind of goes crazy nowadays, considering that a modern £200 to £300 graphics card, if you can even find one, it's probably won't even play the latest games, not in the highest of settings with the expected resolution we've got here anyway. But apart from that, this game is running absolutely beautifully. Everything is really smooth. We're still getting an average of 126 frames per second with a 1% low of 90, and it just makes for a fantastic experience all throughout. Graphics card is only reaching around, well, it's now actually touching around 100%, and the i5-6500 is around 50%. So this is actually a great little pairing here. The CPU, quite surprisingly, does allow for the graphics card to get to its full potential, particularly in this game. So there was absolutely no need to upgrade your CPU, particularly across these years, although I'm sure many people probably would have done at some point. But yeah, this is definitely a great experience here for a mid-range system all the way back in 2016. Now, we'll restart our checkpoint here, and then what we'll do is we're going to go over to the settings and we're going to actually crank this game up. Let's see what the highest possible settings in 1080p resolution anyway can actually achieve in terms of performance. There was a little bit more that we could tweak there, particularly under the video settings. So if we just pop down to the video now, we've pretty much got everything maxed out on the advanced side, and we're going to go over to the individual settings. We should have a very high setting for most of these. So we've got very high sun shadow detail, very high spot shadow detail. We've got dynamic spot shadows enabled. We're going to leave that. Model detail very high. Draw distance we're going to have really far. Then we're going to go for effects details is going to be a high, because that's the highest setting that there is. Exactly the same for impact marks, and the ragdolls we're also going to leave it high as well, because there's no extra setting there. But will these extra settings that we've actually turned on now actually change things very much? I'm not quite sure they will. I think this game is still going to perform exceptionally well. So let's replay that part of the game again. We're now actually taking a slight dip in terms of performance, but it's not that much, to be honest. We're now getting an average of around 122 frames per second with a 1% low of 101. This game is so well optimized, particularly when it was released, and that means that it does run beautifully on this older hardware. Well, older hardware now, but this would have been very modern and new back in 2016, and I think everybody would have had a fantastic experience with it, to be honest. This game is playing beautifully smooth, even in its highest settings. We've got absolutely no issue in terms of dips or anything. We've got a frame time of around 10 milliseconds. That's fantastic. Well, optimization in terms of games is just something that we've kind of forgotten about really nowadays, because we just simply do not have it, particularly in games that are as AAA as this would have been. But yeah, this is definitely something you could have got away with and played over and over again. And there we go. I mean, we're still getting over 100 frames per second, no matter how many enemies are on the screen. If you do like this type of game, and particularly being a game that is so popular and so good, something that is considered probably one of the best games ever made. You'll be really happy to know that 2016 offered many of them. So let's take a look at some others. So as you can see from those benchmarks, if you were a mid-range or budgetish type of gamer all the way back in 2016, building a system like this, maybe you did take your 2015 machine and just add a new GTX 1060 to it, you could pretty much play every single game that was released with a very decent performance across the board. Every single game will achieve over 60 frames per second in 1080p, particularly at a high preset. So you were definitely sitting on a pretty decent machine, really. If you were looking at anything like the GTX 1070, 1080 Ti, that kind of stuff, you're really kind of reaching into the realm of the next resolution. So 1440p and 4K, that's what they were really kind of designed for. Definitely looking at these results, you can see that they definitely would have achieved it too. But yeah, this system really holds it together. Now, on the last system, we did do a test of a newish game, something that was a bit modern, just so that we could test each system as we go along and see how much stronger they got. And for that, we chose Cyberpunk 2077. Now, running that game with this system, we did get a much better result than the previous one. We now can average around 36 frames per second, which is a good 10 frames per second above the previous system and the previous graphics card. So yeah, there was actually a big leap here for budget gamers, particularly in that kind of year. But will it actually apply when we look at 2017? Well, we're working on that video now, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to see how this kind of compares to the experience in 2017, because in 2017 things changed a lot, so you won't want to miss that. And I'm sure, as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one.